Ethan Klein has been going on a rampage for the last few weeks against a variety of different people who have been attacking him. And while there is certainly a fair share of criticisms to be had towards Ethan here and there, some things have absolutely gone too far, like the entire situation with the false CPS call on his children. Well, when a former editor for another popular YouTuber friend of Ethan's, iDubbbz, decided to weigh in on the drama, this sparked Ethan to call him out, as well as firing at Ian himself. After a few days, Ian and Anisa finally responded by suggesting Ethan needs to go to therapy. Welcome to the internet versus Ethan Klein, iDubbbz, and his former editor. It starts when Comments Cop tweets out, "Spineless cuck iDubbbz unable to support his longtime friend Ethan Klein or comment about the latest Content Nuke on Hasan Piker." And he attaches messages between Antinaros and iDubbbz, where Ant says, "Did any of y'all watch the Content Nuke by H3? Do you think it is a worthy homage to the Content Cop series?" And iDubbbz replies, "We ain't talking about any of that." And Ant says, "Aight, wasn't trying to cause trouble, sorry." And Ian replies, "No worries, just a sensitive topic is all. Thanks, Ant." And attaches this image of Hasan, Ian, and Anisa all hanging out. Nerd City replies with this image and says, "Nothing too complicated about it in my house," and shows a DM he sent to Ethan where he said, "Tweet to the Content Nuke so I can RT. It's excellent, and I never heard him admit all that." And Common Cop replies, "Damn, he hasn't tweeted in 2 years. At H3, come back." The Ebony Maw replies, "iDubbbz is now in the business of networking. He can only go after unpalatable people now like Sam Hyde, Carts Narcs, or Republicans. Imagine all the people who wouldn't support his stupid charity boxing event if he supports Ethan and or criticizes Hasan." And Spondyle replies, "I can't blame him. His retardation has put him in the position of either burning a bridge with a longtime friend or alienating his remaining audience of radical freaks. This is probably the best choice for him to make." Then, in an unrelated note, iDubbbz did make a tweet kind of referencing the situation where he says, "Creator Clash 3 needs a headline fight. Here are the options: Ethan Klein versus Hasan Piker, Hassan Abi versus H3H3 Productions, or Vape Nash versus Hank Pecker." And Denims replies, "This would go crazy." Frogan replies with this thinking emoji, and Jakey Pills says, "Sam Hyde versus Ian Joma." Ethan then caught wind of this and responded to it on his podcast when Tim tweets out a clip with the caption, "The most moral podcaster Ethan Klein isn't happy that iDubbbz thinks his year-long obsession with Hasan Piker is just some petty beef. It's super serious. He's posting thirst traps, anti-Semitic thirst traps," and attaches this clip.
I think that it's...
I think it's a good option there.
I think it's fucking... I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this tweet. It's stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also he's way out of my weight class.
That's true. He's got way bigger hands.
It's not even a good joke.
I hate to say it, but the hand differential is...
I mean, just in proportion, he's taller than me. It's just a proportionality thing.
Right. That's all.
Unlike his head. No, but I don't like people characterizing it as some silly beef like that. It's not.
Rye Guy replies, "I thought he used to have comedic timing, or was that never his thing? His jokes land like Elon delivered them. That's how you know he's malding." And Jeremy says, "It's a serious matter, y'all. No jokes. Also remember, small head, haha, wait, no, I hate him." Then Spinner tweets out, "Can't believe I'm finding out today Ethan Klein slowly poisoned his tiny dog to death every meal because he couldn't be bothered to Google how much cheese small dog," and attaches this clip.
Apparently, like, sodium is really fucking bad for their kidney, and I never heard that. And I was giving Shredder like cheese. He loves cheese, and I was always sprinkling cheese on his fucking food, and I just wish to fuck, and I'm so pissed at the stupid fucking...
Jem replies, "You people will find anything to attack him except actually engaging with his points." And Spencer says, "You're right. I should listen to research done by a guy who didn't have the mental bandwidth to Google how not to kill my dog." Key replies, "Apparently sodium is bad for their kidneys. It's bad for ours too, dude. What the fuck did you think dogs are made of?" Then Yeet makes a post from the H3 Snark subreddit where they're talking about the CPS call that was called on Ethan Klein and captions it, "H3 Snark members are unhinged. Blame pediatrician for calling CPS on Ela and Ethan Klein's kid. And attach an image of a Reddit post that says, it was most likely their pediatrician who called a CPS. Hi, mandated reporter here, just hopping on to give my non-cracked out perspective on H3's whole, my kids have a parasite you only get from eating feces, why are people saying I'm a shitty parent situation. Pediatricians, teachers, and school staff workers are all mandated reporters, which means if you have enough reasonable information that leads you to believe a child's safety is in danger, you must call CPS before anything happens. So if a kid is visibly disheveled, injured, or ill due to neglect/environment at home, you make a call because if anything happens to the kid, it will stay on your conscience forever. Ethan brought in his son, who contracted fucking Giardia, a disease you can only get from consuming shit, to his pediatrician, a mandated reporter. He doesn't think it was that pediatrician who called CPS after he heard that the kid was sick after crawling in and eating dog shit. It doesn't make sense to him that the doctor probably lied and reassured Ethan that getting a disease from eating shit is something all kids get before immediately calling CPS the minute the crackhead left. That makes infinitely more sense than random Redditors calling CPS because the whole internet is out to get you. And Samoan Dumpling replies, Denham's repeating the Giardia lie is why she's going to get sued. Black Cat says, the idea that the kids were crawling around in shit and eating dog shit is just made up speculation also. Reasonable evidence isn't weird internet rumors about a creator that you hate. Along with various snarkers making posts such as the one we just read, Bad Empanada also made a post where he said, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are in serious danger. Then Icarus Drowned posts in the RH3 production subreddit with the caption, Ethan is pursuing criminal charges against the snarker who falsely called a CPS on him. And he attaches an Instagram post that Ethan made where he says, I'm filing a police report about the fraudulent CPS call. Tips are anonymous unless they break the law. I am working on getting permits to protest outside Reddit HQ. And Captain Jellin replies, that's what I said, the tips are not anonymous. If it's a false complaint and they know it was completely bullshit that was used to waste their time, they know who called them. And Busta Rhyme replies, maybe the snarker that made the original post knows they aren't anonymous and is trying to expose other snarkers. Bobby Slow Mac replies to OP by saying, as he should. Those freaks who do that shit waste so many resources that are already stretched so thin. And Dead1345987 says, and he has a follow-up visit next week. I understand they're going through with it because they are 100% in the clear, but like, that's an agent that has to come out and take CPS money and time, when it could be used on actual CPS issues. But no, some snarker gave the time CPS could be giving to actual children in need and use them to harass somebody they don't like because why? Spec Slaughter replies to OP by saying, this is beyond disliking someone on the internet. This is unhinged people actively trying to ruin their lives, hiding behind the veil of anonymity. They're truly saving Palestine, guys. They're doing it. And Ajakir says, exactly. It was never about Palestine. They couldn't care less about people in Gaza. They just exploit them and use them as a justification and a shield. Then Ethan made a video on his YouTube channel with the title, This Must Fucking Stop, and he basically talks about the CPS situation, goes into various detail on Denham's, other creators, and obviously we can't play this in its entirety, but the link is in the description if you want to check it out. And various YouTube commenters and such replied to this video, such as Daniel Silva Tattoos, who says, when I was at your house to tattoo you, watching you with your family inspired me to want a family. Seeing how great of parents you guys were, and your house was clean and beautiful, obviously. I can't believe this is happening to y'all. We support you. Froggy Fresh replies by saying, you are fighting evil, brother. When you expose evil, those guilty won't go down without a fight. You got this. Thinking of you and the fam. If anyone brought online harassment into my offline life to make my kids or wife suffer, heads are gonna roll. Much love. Editing my original comment, sue them all. Show no mercy legally. Protect your family. Diesel Patches replies, those Denham's clips hurt to listen to, holy. Nerd City says, this is where moral relativism can take people. When the ends always justify the means, and provoking an upset reaction by any means is the goal. Normal ethics are suspended and bad behavior gets cloaked in fake morality. Even though you courted evil Redditors to your causes before, I would take anyone's side in defending against this abuse. Willie Mac Show replied, this is messed up. It's so far beyond online banter or disagreement. This is legitimate harassment. Hope the fam is doing okay. Disturbin replies, I genuinely can't believe how low people can go. Happy to support and help any way I can. CZ's World says, Denham's disagreeing with a fact she just said might be even dumber than Noah Samson calling the crab from The Little Mermaid a frog, or Rob Gronkowski thinking that canoe is an animal. In addition to all that support in the comment section, there was also this tweet by Yeet with the caption, an unlikely ally, Tipster, is getting lots of love from the H3 community today. Even got a personal shout out from Ethan. Thank you, Big Tip. And he attaches an image on the H3 subreddit with the title, Tipster blocks Denham's for encouraging false CPS reports, and shows a tweet that Tipster made where he said, I'd rather not have someone following me who is okay with fraudulent CPS calls being made against a family as a tool of targeted harassment. No thanks, I'll pass on that bullshit. Showing images that Denham's followed him and then him blocking her. And H3 saw this and posted it on his story with the caption, thank you, Big Tip. Dennis the Menace replies, one of the most unlikely people saying this in this particular situation. Denham's was a big supporter of Keffels and Tipster for anybody keeping score. Then this all combined together to getting into a beef with iDubbbz editor when Froggy Tonic, the editor, tweets out, just learned 2 years before Ethan's dog's death, some H3 fans voiced concerns for his chronic vomiting, pointing to kidney failure, got shunned by other fans, Ethan declined the advice, stayed course, cheese as treats. Fast forward, dog dies of kidney failure at 6 years old, lifespan 13 years. So now, how can you shun a fallen fan when they worry about their 3 kids when they can't be bothered to protect their dogs? Little homie even ingested pills left on the floor. Like, come on, man. Dave in World replies by saying, yo, I get you hate Ethan and whatever, but this is not right. Bad faith takes for a person who loves their dog and is still mourning is insane. This is not it. It's actually depraved and really weird. Froggy then quote tweets himself saying, yo, fans, I'm silly for even trying to appeal to your intelligence given all the death threats and insane assumptions, but the only extrapolation you need to make is don't overfeed him cheese / don't let him eat the pills. Ethan's obviously not a dog killer, just very careless. And Strontium Hog replies, I mean, it's not unreasonable to say that his negligence led to the death of his pet. And Froggy says, oh, I know, dude. I mean, shit, I've seen him chug random pills and apply random creams live on air without reading the instructions. Like, come Lamau, dude is the definition of careless. Fuck, he has the button just so his carelessness can continue without repercussions. Ethan then responds to all this when Yeet tweets out, Ethan Klein drops a 3-part IG story calling out iDubbbz's former editor. This was one of the most painful and traumatic experiences in my life. Fuck you, you piece of shit. Also takes aim at iDubbbz / Anisa and more. Fuck my friends too, who I've stood by all these years. And he attaches images of H3's production story, where he says, these evil fucking C's are working around the clock. This former editor for iDubbbz said this, I took Shredder to the doctor many times over the years. I told him repeatedly about Shredder frequently puking. He always told me it was normal for his breed. I told him about his odd bad breath and the doctor kept telling me he was fine. The doctor never ordered blood testing, although we did some prob a year before and he was fine. Even the day before Shredder's diagnosis, I told my mom to bring him to the vet because he seemed off. We were on a weekend vacation with the kids and Ela's mom, and even then he told us he's fine. Vitals looked fine and it is all good. The very next day, Shredder started puking his dinner, so my mom, thinking she's being overly concerned, went back the next day and insisted they do a blood test. We got a call the next day saying Shredder had stage 4 kidney failure and needed to be hospitalized to have his kidneys flushed or he would die. He spent the next 3 days in the hospital, and while we got his vitals to go down, the damage was already done, and over the next 6 months, his kidney continued to give out. This was one of the most painful and traumatic experiences of my life. I loved that dog with my entire heart and soul. I would do anything for him. Using this as some psychotic own to impugn my character is just cruel and pathetic on a level most humans aren't capable of. Fuck you, you piece of shit, and fuck my friends too, who I have stood by all these years, who now can't find their spine. I don't need any fair weather friends. He then continues by saying, all this fucking bullshit because I hate Hamas, hate terrorists, and I think a 2-state solution is the best option in the interim. Imagine being a privileged American college student whose greatest hardship is missing their dinner meal plan, who has never known danger, telling my wife, who lived through the second Antifada, anything about this conflict. You are a fucking tourist. You don't know shit. Fuck you. And if you think being cruel will stop me, it won't. When Shredder was about 1 or 2, a guest at our house accidentally dropped an Adderall pill wrapped in plastic on the floor. Shredder picked it up and was tearing at the plastic. Once I realized what he was chewing on, I rushed him to the animal hospital where they pumped his stomach. I, once on the show, wondered if this horrible accident could have damaged his kidney. Leave it to these evil obsessive freaks to turn that into another talking point. Fuck anyone that openly associates with these freaks, who shouts out the snark subreddit, who uncritically accepts any of this vile poison without question. I will never forgive or forget any of you that participated in this. Repzion replies, dude, that is so goddamn disgusting that anybody would use somebody's dying pet against them in any context. I had a crazy stalker viewer who accused me of killing my dog because I gave her CBD chews that were doctor recommended for her arthritis. I swear, people like this deserve to be... I can't even say it on here without being banned. Chaos replies, Ian needs to grow a pair and be there for his friend who went to bat for him during the lowest moments of his career. I will lose any respect I ever had for him if he ruins an 8-year-long relationship over Ethan wanting a reasonable 2-state solution. Froggy then replies to Ethan by saying, brother, you're 39. Go pick up the leftover Lexus and Addies off the carpet and go clean the feces off your floor. Didn't one of your kids get giardia? Come on, man, you're beefing with a rando who wants you and your family to be happy. Stop bathing in this toxic pattern. I'm not going to pull the classic Ethan Klein and I'm going to let most of you be able to ask me to end myself. I'll clean the feces later, hoping my followers in the replies don't catch giardia. Nick replies by saying, you're weird as fuck for talking all this shit and then being too much of a pussy to just own up to it and instead act like you're concerned for him. Jesus Christ, you people need help. And Froggy replies, own up? Yes, Ethan was neglectful with his dogs, has already been neglectful with his kids, and will continue to be. Do you guys know how to read? As a child with a neglectful, bipolar, narcissistic dad, that's precisely why I worry for Ethan's kids. You fans are clocked out. And Zir replies, yo, I don't normally wade into online drama shit, but this is beyond inappropriate. You're making some outrageous claims, here and throughout all of your excretions today. Weaponizing your trauma to accuse someone of a child neglect with 0 examples or evidence is actually abhorrent. Then Froggy retweeted this post, quote tweeting someone else who tweeted out the post that we already read that H3 made, and Steph said, Ethan, you said Aaron Bushnell burned like a champ and are going on vacation to Israel in an attempt to whitewash the fact it's an apartheid state currently committing genocide. You are a privileged white rich American man from California currently living in the Hollywood Hills. Froggy also tweets out, yeah, by the way, I replied to so many Ethan Klein fans that my feed started showing me right-wing Zionist tweets. The fan base isn't doing too good, let me tell you. Then Froggy continues to tweet out some images of the fan base responding, also including this image of a post Harley Morgenstein made, where Icarus Drowned posts into the H3H3 subreddit. Harley comments on anti-Semitic Crater Clash editor Negative Aura, where someone says to Harley, I hate him. And Harley replies, how did we not notice him? And someone says, I can't even tell you what he looks like. And Harley replied, dude, he wore this at the Crater Clash gala. How is it possible he wore this outfit and was still literally invisible? And someone says, -1 billion aura. And Froggy replied to all these comments by saying, okay, that's it. This entire fan base is insane. That's bordering on slander. Let's hash it out, Ethan, coward in chief Klein. Boob Sweat and Tears replies, Harley loves involving himself in shit that doesn't concern him. And Froggy says, the Fitz comment is funny because I was very hard to miss. I got complimented as soon as I entered the room and every time I engaged convo. One of these peeps even DM'd me this week. Comedian riffed on me during his set. Got invited to diner, got hit on, glorious day. Then Ian and Anisa finally weighed in on this on their She Ruined My Career podcast, episode number 72. And again, each tweets out a clip of this with the caption, Anisa and iDubbbz talked about Ethan and Hila in their newest pod episode from She Ruined My Career. Says best way to deal with the CPS situation is not to bring it up publicly. Kind of angry we have to talk about it here, the more people that amplify it, the worse it gets. And attaches this clip.
Full stop on this period. The last thing somebody who's going through something like that needs is more eyes on it and more like people weighing in, right? And like that's why I'm kind of angry that we even have to like talk about it here, is that like whether or not people who are in it right now realize it on any side, the more people who weigh in, the more people who add to the conversation, the more people who amplify it, the worse that it gets. We were in it And at the time when we were in it and we wanted...
She's referring to us kind of going through a fucking hard time on the internet, being harassed, videos made about us, people weighing in.
People still make videos about us. And at the time, before like we got help, before we went to therapy, like, yes, there was this attitude of like, why the fuck aren't people saying things? Why the fuck is no one like saying how wrong this is? Like, of course we had anger about that, but like we had to, now that we've gone to therapy and we've worked through all these things, like, one, the videos have not stopped, right? The comments about us have not stopped. What has stopped is me caring about it, me looking at it. And when you get the help and you realize that this is like something that you cannot control at all and it doesn't have to affect your life, that's the only way it gets better.
Yeah.
Things piling on, things adding to it, people weighing in, people throwing punches for you, does not help.
He then continues his thread by saying, iDubbbz says they tried reaching out privately and want to stay out of drama. We don't condone harassment of any kind. We have not stuck our foot in any of this, and attaches this clip.
Ethan's upset with, I think, some of our connections, and, you know, we've tried to reach out to Ethan to talk privately. Basically, it just seems like we're at a bit of an impasse. So we want to stay out of the drama as much as possible. We don't want to pile on and add to anything. So this is our, you know, lukewarm addressing of it. It's, you know, we're always open to talk, privately, especially. And yeah, we'll, you know, the door's always open.
Yeah, the door is always open. I want to like really drive it home. We don't condone harassment of any kind.
Condone harassment of any kind.
Of any kind. Okay, period. Which is why we have not stuck our foot in any of this, because it is not productive. I don't think it's helpful. And these are real people who have real feelings.
Then continues his thread again by saying, Anisa and iDubbbz discuss their own hardships with harassment, suggest therapy for Ethan. Before we got help, before we went to therapy, yes, there was this attitude of why aren't people fucking saying anything? And he attaches this clip.
At the time when we were in it and we wanted...
She's referring to us kind of going through a fucking hard time on the internet, being harassed, videos made about us, people weighing in.
People still make videos about us. And at the time, before like we got help, before we went to therapy, like, yes, there was this attitude of like, why the fuck aren't people saying things? Why the fuck is no one like saying how wrong this is? Like, of course we had anger about that, but like we had to, now that we've gone to therapy and we've worked through all these things, like, one, the videos have not stopped.
Howling Mutant replies, I don't know, maliciously calling CPS on someone's kids seems in a different ballpark than having critical videos made about you. Taralia says, I can't believe she pays a therapist $150 an hour to tell her that she can't control the world and not reading hate comments would make her happier. How did she not figure that out herself? Wavy Websurf quotes the clip by saying, she really has this uncanny ability to say the dumbest shit possible at the exact moment in the discourse where it's the most damaging to her and Ian. And Gabba Pinton says, none of these idiots have any kids or experience with kids, so they don't understand how this CPS situation is an unprecedented level of online harassment. Skelly quotes the clip by saying, trying to give advice about not caring or speaking on things on the internet while on a podcast named after one of the most common attacks you get online is very funny. Then Icarus Drown posts on the H3 subreddit a Instagram story from Anisa Joma, where she said, a new podcast episode where we talk about her experience with harassment and more. And he captions it by saying, Ian and Anisa released podcast episode doubling down on refusing to speak up, suggesting Ethan just needs therapy. And Nick DiOrio screenshots this with the caption, holy shit. Wavy Websurf replies, man, that's cold. And Payne the Astrologian says, behold what supposedly finding empathy at age 30 gets you. Ronald replies to Nick by saying, they talk in such vague terms that the entire segment is worthless. I'm not kidding, I listened to it twice and I don't think they made a single point or stance. It's like listening to dead air even though they're speaking. The Hunt says, I would say maybe Anisa is helping to leverage the Hasan crowd to promote Creator Clash 3, but that would require them actually giving a shit about their own events to even have that thought process, lol. Then back to Froggy, he quote tweets a post from Mike from PA where he said, it's absolutely hilarious that the entire effect of the content nuke by Ethan Klein on Hasan was just to help iDubbbz and I grow massively more on Twitch. And Froggy says, I shit you not, Ethan landed me a job. I even asked for confirmation and yes, it's cause I appeared in his stories. And SpinFX replies, and then everybody started clapping. And Froggy says, Mr. Please, with a big red slash going over Destiny's face and the caption, no abuser zone. And obviously there is a lot more dramas back and forth between Ethan and dozens of other various creators going on right now. If you want to see us cover those and summarize those in the internet versus format, let us know in the comments below. Shout out to our first tier 3 member and internet representative, Kiko. We appreciate the support from you as well as all the other fans alike. Thank you for watching, but that's what the internet's had to say so far. See you next episode.